one thing that we don't have as much nowadays, we don't take philosophy quite as seriously. So, but Stoicism at the time was a major, it was a major school of thought. It was a very popular, I mean, right? Marcus Aurelius was emperor, and he was a self-professed Stoic. So it's an education. And I think if anything, perhaps the volatility, like one of the things that's so excellent about character is it's a resource that works in any situation, as we talked about earlier. So it is safe against volatility. So if I have a very specific, if I have a skill set in investing money, I require money. If I have a skill set in using some sort of tool, I require that tool and a company to work with. But when you develop character, that's a skill set that you can apply no matter the situation. If you get exiled, if you end up in court, if you end up as a merchant or something like this. So it has that variability. So this really was a place of, it was a liberal arts education, but it was a liberal arts education for young men that was seen to be really, really, really important in a way that a kind of a liberal arts education now has and perhaps rightly so, perhaps not, but it has a picture of being kind of worthless or kind of indulgent. And it was not conceived of in this way. It was conceived of as an important part of a child's education, or as of a young man's education. So this was primarily it. There would be other people from the city or that he was in that would come and get help, but that was the primary people that he was working with, and it would include studying of texts. So like what we have left is the discourses, which were written by a student. They were the recording of lecture notes. So it's basically Arian, a student of Epictetus, writing down Epictetus's conversations with other students. So we see here, we don't see a lot of like classical, read this text or do this homework assignment, but that's because all the students would have already had that, or they would have already known to do that. These were kind of the extra side conversations Epictetus would engage with people. So it actually, to the evidence we have, was very much like a proper liberal arts education where you learned a lot of different texts, you studied logical fallacies and logical problems, and you gained an ethical education. But that was seen as something valuable for the rest of life.